we are continuing to recognize Black Business Month by profiling some of the local business owners that are making a difference in our community. Joining us today is Jessica Care-Moore, the owner of More Black Press and the group Black Women Rock. Hey,
yes,
Jessica.
Hi.
Thanks for being with us here. Okay, let's start off with talking about Black Women Rock. Explain a bit about that.
It's my 20th anniversary. I've been supporting Black women who play rock and roll music for 20 years. I started it when I was just in my 20s, and I saw a void in a festival I was producing in Atlanta, Georgia, and I knew about the rockers. I'm a poet, but I was in the rock scene in New York City. And I just wanted to bring some light to these women that exist, are under our noses. A lot of urban radio, Black radio, don't play their music, and then a lot of times the rock stations don't play their music, the more mainstream stations. And so I want to put those contemporary voices, the ones that came from after Grace Jones and Betty Davis and Tina Turner, they have daughters. So we call ourselves Daughters of Betty. And to be honest, 20 years ago when I did it for the first time, I never imagined 20 years ago I'd still be pushing this institution forward. And so yeah, this Saturday we're in Detroit at the Fillmore. It's our biggest venue. I've got all the general admission seats at $20 because it's energy over money for me. It's really just about educating this community, the city, this country about the roots of rock and roll, which is Rosetta Tharpe, which is the blues sped up, which is Black women. And so a lot of times rock and roll is marketed, as you know, in a different way. But if you talk to like the Rolling Stones and U2 and some of those guys that really get the play, say, oh, you think of rock and roll, you think of white guys. But truly, they were listening to Black women first. And so I'm just trying to really correct the history. And so it's an educational piece. So it's also, yeah, it's a rock concert, but it's education based.
Wow, and that's this Saturday, you said?
It's Saturday the 31st. It's a bad rock and roll, it's the best rock and roll concert you haven't seen yet, and I hope you can make it.
Okay, tickets still available?
Tickets are available at livenation.com. 7 o'clock is doors, 8 o'clock show. It's amazing. Nick West just got off tour with Lenny Kravitz, and she made a stop here on purpose to see us. Kimberly Nicole, incredible voice. She was on Team Pharrell on The Voice. She's been on tour with Janelle Monáe, so she's here. Divinity Rocks, who's been an MD and played with Beyonce, is the bass player. She's coming. So it's, you know, Kat Dyson's our MD, has played with Cyndi Lauper and Prince. And so these women are like goddesses. They've played arenas, but they're here in Detroit on Saturday night.
Oh my gosh, that sounds incredible. Okay, and you're busy yourself. You also have a publishing
I have a publishing
company.
house.
Talk about that too.
More Black Press. I started in 1997 in Brooklyn, New York. I was a young poet then. I'd won the Apollo. I'd made history at the Apollo. I'd been in New York for 5 months and became very famous in New York City very fast. And so instead of just signing myself to a publishing house, I decided I would build an institution. I would support poets. And so I've been publishing poets. My newest poet is Brad Walron. He has an incredible book of poetry, Everywhere Alien. He's, I think, my 15th book. But he is my first book on More Black Press, Harper Amistad. So I made a very bossy distribution deal last year. And so he's my first author with international distribution. And so I'm growing. And I'm the Detroit Poet Laureate, so I'm getting to, that happened, Mayor Duggan made me the Poet Laureate a few months ago, and been honored to start serving in that seat for the next 2 years. I'm doing that work. So I'm gonna be pushing literacy, books, poetry. I'm gonna get the city to write haiku about how much they love Detroit. Everyone, you have to write one. I'm getting everyone I know to write one.
Okay.
And just getting people to understand that poetry belongs to everywhere and everyone. And it really, I went to Cody High School right off Joy Road, and that library on Joy Road saved my life. Like reading those poets that weren't necessarily taught to me in school, and my Black Box Theater that was in Cody High School changed my life. And so I want to do some of that work. I want to show young girls that it's possible to be a poet and a writer and tell your story and make a living doing it.
Yeah, and you're an artist yourself, but amplifying these other artists, is that important to spread the message and let other people know you could do this too?
Yeah, it's more fun when it's more than just you. I mean, I've never, it was like, I got really well known very quickly in New York City, and I was like, okay, I'm from Detroit, what do you do with this? And because I'm a Detroiter, I'm an institution builder. And I came up with Broadside Press, and I knew who Thurwood Press was out of Chicago, Don L. Lee, who's Hakeem Madabuti. And so I had good teachers, and I had people taking care of me. So when I had an opportunity, to me, I had to pay it forward, and I take care of other people's voices too. And so, yeah, I get joy out of that. It makes me happy. When I have a new book, it's like, it doesn't have to be, I don't have to author it, but I'm pushing it through. But I am an author. I have my first children's book is coming out in June of 2025, Our Crown Shines on HarperCollins.
Our Crown Shines?
Yeah, it's for Ketanji Brown Jackson, the Supreme Court Justice. It's a beautiful book illustrated by a woman named Dare. She's an amazing illustrator. But it's finally, I get to talk to little people. And so I've been wanting to do that my whole career. But poetry is well and weaved in everything that I do.
Right.
Whether I'm doing a rock concert event or supporting the visual artists in the city. My first feature film, He Looked Like a Postcard, just, came out, and so I'm working a deal for that. And that's just one long poem.
Wow.
So at the core, I'm a poet and activist and a lover of all the arts, music, poetry, theater, and film.
Thank you for sharing it and
yeah.
spreading it and lifting up other artists.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Again, Jessica Moore, thank you so much for being with us.
And I'll see you Saturday.
Yes, see you there.